My final two guests for the evening, we've got Maddy Myles and Michael Schenck in the studio. Hi, how are you?
Very well.
Yeah, thank you very, very patiently waiting next door for us to get to you on the show tonight. And you're going to talk about a couple of shows as part of the Greater Manchester Fringe. The first one's called Frog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this one you're both in?
Yes, it is, yeah. Where I play Roman Reus, and you play my mother, Mrs. Reus. They're both of the plays are put on by the production company called Maniacal Vision, which is run by the director of our play called Beth Hayward. And yeah, it's a new production company. They're both new pieces of writing, both plays that she's written. And yeah, so the first one is at King's Arms in Salford on the 22nd and 23rd of July at 9 o'clock. And the second one is on the 29th and 30th of July at 7:30.
Yeah.
In the Salford Arts.
Yeah. So the King's Arms. King's Arms is a wonderful place, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about Frog without giving too much away?
Yes, well, it's a three-hander, so there's three characters in the play, and it follows Cameron Reus, who's a wanted criminal by the state, and his mother, who struggles to accept that her son isn't quite the innocent child she once thought he was. So it's sort of a moral dilemma that Mrs. Reus, the mother character, has of whether to support the son or to tell the truth and do right by the state that are investigating him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a very difficult one, that, isn't it? When it's your own, somebody perhaps from your own family. I can imagine the dilemma.
Yes, I think she's, caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, somewhat.
Yeah, it's interesting because the play is, it talks about, it's about a political revolution, if you like, and it's because it's shown through the eyes of only three characters. It's a very personal experience, isn't it? And
yeah.
Especially because of that relationship between our two characters. But it's kind of the main action, if you like, of the situation the society is set in is not within the action of the play.
Yeah,
It's more about the reaction to all of that, isn't it?
It's almost a domestic thriller, I suppose, isn't it? And it's very it's quite an intense play, but there's certainly moments of lightness to it as well, where the relationships come to light, and it's only an hour.
Yeah.
So if you've got a spare hour on the 22nd or the 23rd of July, 9 p.m, do come along. We'd love to see you. We'd be delighted.
Those wonderful humans doing that.
But did you say how much the tickets were?
Tickets are available at £7, £5 for concession tickets.
Very good. Yes.
And you can get them obviously on the Greater Manchester Fringe website. What Remains, the other show, which we'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment, their tickets are £8.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there is actually a crowdfunder been set up for the productions, as the production company is very new. Beth, our director, has set up a crowdfunder page just to help some of the costs of staging two brand new shows, but also 30% of the total donations that are received will be split between three really great causes. So if you're interested in donating to that in any way, obviously have a look at our website and social media feed, and they'll direct you in the right direction.
I think that's quite nice, because people may feel that they want to do that. They're supporting yourselves and supporting some local charities as well. So that's really a really important thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's it's a big it's an awful lot of work and an awful lot of costs involved with staging a production. And staging two, obviously, is quite a lot to come up against. So it's to then sort of split some of those proceeds with some worthy causes is seems like a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Have you both been in the Fringe before? Are you both?
Personally, not Manchester Fringe. I've done a lot of work on the London Fringe over the years and Edinburgh Fringe. So I've been quite lucky in terms of I've worked on the Fringe an awful lot, but just not in Manchester yet. So it's going to be exciting to see how it differs. And
Yeah.
What about yourself, Michael?
This is my first time in the Manchester Fringe as well. I mean, I'm actually from Merseyside, so don't know how many of your listeners will like the sound.
I couldn't tell really from Merseyside. Yeah. You've not got a strong accent.
No, I'm kind of I'm from Brain Hill, so it's kind of this side of Merseyside.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first time in the Manchester Fringe, and I mean, I'm not long out of drama school myself, so I've not been in the professional world of acting that long. So no, I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yeah. So there's three of you in this then.
There's three. There's our fellow actor Lucy Litchfield, who plays Rose Carlin, who is that represents the state really in this. She's the detective who's investigating Cameron. So yeah, the three of us are sort of pitching in and working hard at rehearsals at the moment, and just trying to get it ready and polish it up, and make sure it's all ready for the opening night on the 22nd.
For all your listeners to come and see it.
Yeah, well, no, that's fine. Yeah, this is what it's about. I mean, the good thing about the Greater Manchester Fringe is there's that many things on, and people can trial things, and it's a good trialing place for other places, isn't it?
Absolutely.
People take things on to other fringes or other events. We
were just talking about that outside actually with a few of your other guests about how because a lot of them tend to be relatively short shows as well, that there's a lot of opportunity for people to go and see multiple different things, and it's really good for the local community.
If the show's only an hour long, then you have the opportunity to come and see maybe 2 or 3 in a day if you if you wanted to do that. And a lot of them are on at the same venue, so it's easy enough to do. And there's such a variety of different shows on at the Fringe this year. That there's comedy, there's drama, there's everything. So it's really something for everyone all round, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic, and so I'm sure it'll be a great success. And I wish you all the best with that.
Thank you very much.
And we'll just say again the dates and when it's on again with the recap.
Yes, so our play Frog is on at the King's Arms, Salford, the 22nd and the 23rd of July, and that's from 9 p.m. Tickets available on the Manchester Fringe website.
Right, and we've got another play to tell everybody about, haven't we, which is What Remains.
Yes.
So, and you said, was it Salford Arts Theatre?
Yes, so the company that we're performing for in Frog is also putting on another production called What Remains at Salford Arts Theatre on the 29th and 30th of July at 7:30, and we're sort of here representing their cast as well as our own, as they were unable to make it tonight. But it's a really fascinating play. Deals with the themes of the environment and single-use waste. And I mean, it sounds really exciting. They're building their set from a giant sort of landfill, so they've been collecting litter from Salford. So local litter is making a starring stage debut as part of this production. But it's really to drive
top billing.
Yes, top billing. So it's to drive the big issue of the environment home, essentially.
It does need driving home as well.
It most certainly does. Yeah.
I think the good thing about this play as well, in a similar way to ours, actually, it's very much, even though it speaks to larger themes, it's very much about individuals and their impact and what they can do and how their decisions, even though individuals may think that they aren't going to make an impact on the wider issues that we face, they really can, and if everybody decides not to recycle about one bottle, in worldwide, that's 7 billion bottles not recycled. So, it's really about that, isn't it? I mean, individual choices and
everyone sort of working together. Well, the ideal is if we were all to do our little bit, then things would change. But I suppose the play is looking at at what cost do we do that, and the factors that sometimes prevent that. So a very interesting and topical production to go to the Salford Arts Theatre and see on the 29th and 30th.
So we've got a different cast in that.
Yes, there's a different cast entirely in that.
Our director is actually
performing in that particular production. But they're a fabulous young cast, and I highly recommend getting to see that, because I'm sure we'll
it's a nice theatre, isn't it, as well?
Salford Arts Theatre.
I think the good thing about that as well is that even though it doesn't just talk about these issues, as you mentioned before, the crowdfunder, it's contributing to these causes that are in positive ways changing
Yeah. If it changes people's perceptions and makes them go out and do something when they see all this plastic on stage, hopefully that will have an effect.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the idea. So fingers crossed that it has the right impact, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah. I know there's programs on at the moment, and they're highlighting things, and you actually see, what it's doing elsewhere in the world, and exporting our waste somewhere else. And you think, how bad is that? That we're dumping our rubbish somewhere else with people who've got no choice to deal with it, and it's so wrong, isn't it?
It really is. And I think the more that we can shine a light on these kind of practices, the more likely it is that people are going to start taking a little bit of responsibility and hopefully doing something about it before it's too late.
And the thing is, with litter and waste and things, that people and societies do their best to, as you say, divert their attention away from it. I think the good thing about this, as you said, is because it's all on stage, you can't get away from that. It's put there right in front of you.
Yeah, that's certainly true. That's it. So it sounds fantastic. A couple of productions there, Frog and What Remains. So Frog's on at the King's Arms, and What Remains on at Salford Arts Theatre. So I wish everybody great success with those two productions. Sounds as though they're going to be absolutely fabulous. So,
thank you.
Maddy and Michael, I'd like to thank you very much for coming in tonight on Salford City Radio, and I'm sure that your tickets will fly out of the box office and you'll have a full house.
Like hotcakes, we hope. But thanks very much for having us. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
You invited us along.